This is Andy Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. I'm joined by Eddie Hearn here in New York. Eddie, you've made it.
Mate, I've made it. Well, I made it a long time ago, Andy, to be fair. But we're here, and this is what we fucking live for, mate. That's why I was not missing this press conference. I didn't care. I was honestly going to make it midnight. If I had to make it midnight, you would have all had to wait. Because we paid the money. They're not our fighters, right? So I had to be here for that. Because this is what we live for. Madison Square Garden. Teofimo Lopez has been waiting for nearly a year for this fight. Live on DAZN. This is what we live and breathe for. I fucking love boxing. I love it. It's in my veins. I live for this shit. And I just cannot wait. I'm so excited about this week, next week, Haney Diaz, Ben against Algieri, Katie Taylor, Chisora Parker, all on DAZN. Unrivaled platform, unrivaled value for money. This is what we live for.
Did you expect it to go off in the manner that it did today, especially on the back of yesterday's events?
I think sometimes, what happens is you generally, like a team might say to someone, let's keep it calm today. You saw Teofimo's dad yesterday at the workout, all went off. And I was just like, I nearly stopped, but I just thought, let's another question, come on. Because it's easy at that point just to go, as a guy in the middle, my job is to get that shit going. Sometimes with people like that, it's easier to do it than others, right? Sometimes you don't even have to do it. But sometimes, and this is why I want to be in the middle. Because I want to see it, I want to feel it, and I want to make it happen. And we made it happen today. It worked perfectly. There was nothing, no one was rolling around on the floor, no one was scrapping. It was passionate. It was quite funny at times. You know what I mean? And it was a little bit violent, but guess what? It's the fight game. So, as I said, this is a big fight. Big fight for boxing. Don't miss it on Saturday.
It's a fine line, Eddie, between what you said, just maybe going a bit over the top and maybe having the hands thrown and just a little push and a shove. Was you ever in your own mind thinking this could go wrong here?
You know what? I've seen a lot lately where they haven't done head-to-heads, and I hate it. But you have got to be sensible. Someone chins someone and fights off. So that was one occasion there, right? She had adopted a little bit of a sideways stance, which is a new one for me, because I had to just jump. These guys are all right. They're only small. Don't say it too loud. But to me, they're quite small. I can get in the middle. The big guys, I'm just going to get trampled. But I think Teo's smart enough and George is smart enough to know. They've been waiting so long for this fight. They don't want to start fighting now. So I feel like a face-off is part of the promotion, part of the preparation. It's what you want to see. And every time, almost like as a fan, when I don't see a face-off, I go, what is that? The face-off's everything. Do you know what I mean? So tomorrow, we'll do a face-off. And it's on me. Friday, sorry, it's Thanksgiving tomorrow. Friday, I'll be in there. And we'll have security everywhere. And listen, I don't think you can throw a punch when we're in that kind of environment. We'll see. Just be sensible in a way, but also you have to remember who these guys are and what they do. They're fighters. They're not normal people. You can't just keep prodding, face to face, say this, say that, and expect nothing. But today was perfect, and we move forward. A couple of days to go.
Eddie, when you see everything that's gone on the last couple of days between the teams, and when Teo said he expects to stop him early in the first couple of rounds, going into Saturday night, is it one where you expect it to catch fire instantly?
It will catch fire, and it will be a great fight. I mean, Kambosos moves well. A lot of people, he's got fast hands, but he's got fast feet as well. I feel like Teo's going to come out, destruct and destroy, Marvin Hagler style, and just try and take him out. I do believe that. He's told me on numerous occasions with no cameras, 1 round. 1 round, I'm telling you. I hope we get more than 1 round because I paid a lot of money for this fight. But at the same time, George is clever. George is clever. And you know what I like about George? I don't think he's gonna quit. I don't think he's gonna be fragile. I don't think he's gonna fold under the pressure. I think this is his moment. And I think he's ready. Now, will he be good enough? That's a bigger question. But I'll tell you something now. The kid's got bollocks. The kid's got fire. He'll give it everything. Is he good enough? That's the question. It's quite interesting there. He said a few things. He's obviously, he says, you beat Lomachenko 1 arm. This is more like some stuff you might not have picked up on. When you beat Lomachenko 1 arm, you were lucky to get this decision about Nakatani. Sometimes you try and convince yourself that actually they're not that good. Do you know what I mean? And teams do that as well, and that's part of the psychology of bigging up your fighter, but also, you know, making you a believer, but also facts. You know, Teofimo, Lomachenko did have an injury. Nakatani was a very close fight and a poor performance from Teofimo. You know what I mean? But then you go on the flip side and go, well, hang on, he beat Lomachenko. He smashed Commey to pieces. You know, it's tough. It's tough. He's a quality fighter, Teofimo. And he's been brilliant to work with, to be honest with you. Absolutely brilliant.
Eddie, going to move forwards because I'm sure I'll probably catch you tomorrow in those Thanksgiving and Friday as well. Eddie, Fury, I'll go out, as you mentioned on stage, you know, he broke your heart with the Martin Ward fight, but what do you expect in this one tomorrow night?
Well, you know,
Saturday night.
Martin Ward is a close friend of ours, and Tony Sims, and was desperate for him to get his world title shot, but Fury was too good. You know, Martin had an injured knee, but the fight was starting to go Fury's way. He's very clever, good fighter. And by the way, Agawa is really exciting. He had a great fight with Tevin Farmer. He's had his problems as well in the past, but he's all action, very, very tough. And this is a big fight for us because we've got both guys signed on options to go and fight our guys after. So Joe Cordina and Zelfa Barrett, who's in a massive fight on December 18th in an IBF Eliminator, they're waiting in the wings to get their shot. And when you look at the division, Shakur Stevenson, Oscar Valdez, this is a brilliant division. So that's a massive fight for the division, and I like Zinga Fuzili. You know, I think he's a good fighter.
Zhilei Zhang, we saw somewhat of a distorted performance last time out against Jerry Forrest. So what do you expect to see from him this time?
Listen, I think Zhilei Zhang is entertaining, and the fight with Forrest was great, but he was cruising the fight. He knocked him down about 4 times, and then he gassed, and he nearly lost the fight. He was ending in a draw. I think we need to throw him in 2022. One more fight. Let's see him look good on Saturday night, and then, you know, fight anybody. He's in his 30s. He's had his fights. He's world ranked in the top 15. Throw him in. So let's see how he looks on Saturday night, and if he can go out and put a good performance in, I'm confident to put him in with any heavyweight out there.
There it is. You know, there's always topics away from yourself. I want to get your thoughts on this past weekend. Crawford Porter. What did you make of Terence's stoppage win?
I haven't seen the whole fight. I saw the stoppage. Listen, Terence is brilliant. I thought he'd win every round and stop him. He didn't win every round, but he did stop him. I don't know. Kenny was talking about bad preparation and stuff like that. I haven't seen it, but I think that Terence is just a brilliant fighter. You know, I think he's the best welterweight in the world. And I hope he goes on and gets the Errol Spence fight, because that's the fight we all want to see.
Terence is a free agent now. Will you be trying to make a play?
I don't think so. I mean, look, not because I don't think he's not a brilliant fighter, but, you know, who can we offer him in the welterweight division? He's making a lot of money. You've seen from the pay-per-view buys the other day, they're not good enough, you know, but he's brilliant. He's a pound-for-pound great fighter. But ultimately, he needs to fight Errol Spence. I can't deliver him the Errol Spence fight, so what's the point in signing with me or us making him an offer? But I admire him, I respect him, and I hope he gets the fights he craves for.
Sean Porter retiring on the back of that. I don't want to say a surprise one, because it's going to be hard for him to get into another position to fight for a world title, but still an elite level fighter in that division. What did you make of seeing that announcement? Of course, a career that's many would love.
I think it's a good call, because you don't want to get hurt. You know, he's at the end of his career. There's no point taking. He's got money. You know, he's been a world champion. He's been in big fights, and he's a great man. You know, he's got a great relationship with his dad. I think it's, you know, you bow out at the top. He bowed out fighting the best welterweight in the sport, and we wish him all the success in retirement.
Fulton Figueroa also takes place this weekend. Whoever wins that will the move be to make the MJ undisputed fight?
Must be. I mean, you know, the problem is with boxing, and listen, I've been on that end before, where someone's really good and you don't really want to fight him, you know, or the fighter doesn't believe he can win, or more likely the trainer or the manager doesn't really want that fight because it's a bit dangerous. Charlo against Andrade, which we'll come on to shortly. MJ against Figueroa Fulton. This is the problem with boxing. Rather than the fighter saying, let's roll the dice, let's try and become undisputed, MJ would fight any of those guys like that tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? So hopefully, I mean, in that instance, it's PBC and Matchroom. Hopefully PBC will say, yeah, we agree. You know, and we don't mind doing the Andrade fight on Fox or the MJ fight on Fox. It's not a problem. I just want to give the fighters the opportunity to go and become undisputed, you know, become greats. But it only happens when people are prepared to take those fights and people are prepared to work together. So we'll see.
We've spoken previously, and you was on the Canelo Plant Fight Week, about your relationship with PBC. How much of a sticking point is it currently, and how much dialogue do you have with their team?
I speak. Louis de Cubas is a very close friend of mine. You know, obviously he works with PBC. We've made so many fights together. We do such great business together. But clearly, at the top, they don't particularly like me. I don't expect to be liked. I don't expect any favours. And luckily, we're big enough where if people don't like us, then, you know, we still move in the same way. But as I said to Louis the other day, it's frustrating and strange that, you know, it's good for their business and good for our business, but they can't bring themselves to do it. So, I don't know. Look, you know, hopefully there's some fights they think make sense. Ultimately, you know, they talk about obviously making in-house fights and stuff like that, but that's just not. I don't feel like that's for the good of the game. You got to roll the dice sometimes, you know. And it's sport. You got to gamble, but you got to be in it for the beauty of sport. Money's important. It's a business, of course it is. But at the same time, don't you want to witness great moments? Don't you want to see your fighter achieve his dreams and create his legacy? And I don't know. Boxing sometimes seems to be more like, no, we're not going to give them the opportunity. I don't understand. You know, if you back your guy, let's do it. You know, a lot of people said to me recently, you know, don't think AJ should have fought Usyk, should have swerved him. Fucking hell. What, is that what you want? You want fighters to start swerving people and stuff like that? I mean, I don't know. It's frustrating at times, but we'll see.
Canelo happened to be the last fight week where I saw you, Eddie. I saw you do your interview with Ryan, and you gave a very poor impression of when I bumped into you in the lobby. So I messaged you.
Yeah. You texted me a couple of times, and I was like, it wasn't my show, right? So I ain't got no responsibility to do interviews, especially with you.
Well, then you did the interviews in the week.
I did, because I'm a nice guy, right? So you messaged me in the morning. I was tired, you know, etc. And I'm like, I'm going to LA. Mate, you got time for an interview? I saw it, I thought, I ain't doing Andy. Anyway, I didn't do any interviews, by the way. And then I thought, you know, so I walked out. As I walked out, you've just come straight across the lobby with your Starbucks. Eddie. I got both bags, right? Got 5 minutes. No, mate, no. And you know, I very, very rarely turn down an interview.
I thought it was a good chance to big up Canelo. Now he's a free agent, and you never know where he's going to go next.
I was out with him all night. I didn't get into it about 4 a.m. No, look, I think your next question, talk about Canelo. Saw the stuff at the WBC convention. I like the Makabu fight. We've got 3 or 4 fights for him in terms of options as well. I'm sure other people have as well. I reckon we've got our show with him Friday in Porto Valato with Eddie Reynoso. I think we'll start talking soon, and I'll put my options to him. They'll put their options to him. Someone else will probably put their options to him, and he'll look at it and decide what's best for his career. Would love to work with him again. It was I'd say it was refreshing being on the other side, but it was quite educational being on the other side. But I want to be in there. You know what I mean? I want to be promoting the pound for pound #1, and hopefully we can work again in the future.
Just because the WBC approved of Makabu fight, do you actually expect it to happen next?
No, it's not done, is it? But I think, you know, that was just a case of saying, look, we'd support that fight. You know, it's good news story as well. And Canelo wants to make history. You know, I think when you say what do they want to do next, I think what they want to do next is have fun, achieve dreams, chase legacy, take massive challenges, and that's all things that are great for the sport, you know. So a Makabu would be a massive challenge. So we'll have to see. But I'd support that fight. I could make that fight. Someone else could make that fight. It doesn't really matter. And you know, there's Triple G, there's Dimitri Bivol. I still like him. Also trying to become undisputed at 175 because I think he can fight Bivol, he can fight Joe Smith. Then the Beterbiev fight is huge. But you know, Makabu, Triple G, you know, loads of options.
We'll link Andrade into Canelo next, but firstly, you had a little run-in with his mother in your post-fight interview. I think it was Oscar. Can you just kind of reflect on what actually happened there?
Demetrius' mum. Yeah, she just came over and said, look, you know, get my son a big fight. I said, yeah, we're trying. I said, you know, they said, well, what are you going to do? I said, well, we're going to make more offers. We're going to petition the WBC. But I said, there's not a lot we can do if people won't actually fight him. And then she said that, but they're all cherry picking. She said, Canelo's cherry picking. I just said, like, it's not because I'm a Canelo fanboy, which I am. But you have to be honest, he ain't cherry picking. Canelo's resume is unbelievable, right? Since I've been around him or worked with him, you know, if you remove Rocky Fielding and Yildirim was a mandatory that he had to take. He's gone. And the run actually has gone Danny Jacobs, Sergey Kovalev. He's gone from middle to light heavyweight to fight 2 world champions. Callum Smith, Billy Joe Saunders, Caleb Plant. You can't ask for any more. Like, he doesn't cherry pick. You know, sometimes you take an easier fight as a mandatory for great money. Good luck, just a business. But he wants to fight the very best, Canelo. And I just said that, you know, because I I'm sure she's frustrated. We're all frustrated, but you've also got to tell the truth and stand your ground at times and say, no, that's not right. So that was all that was.
We saw in the week that, DAZN had put a tweet out and he had a bit of a mixed reaction, and Demetrius had retweeted a couple of the tweets below saying he wasn't going to help his own case for trying to get a fight against a Charlo, a Canelo, whoever you've tried to make fights with previously, Eubank, what have you. What is your actual relationship like with Demetrius?
Got a great relationship with Demetrius. I mean, we've done away from not delivering him a marquee fight, we've paid him a lot of money and kept him very active. That is the number one job and priority of a promoter. The second job is to make sure you get him the big fights. But I'm quite honest in my assessment, which is I don't know what else I can do, and I have failed in the respect of not getting him a massive fight, because you can't say I haven't, because I haven't got him one. But I've kept him active, I've paid him a lot of money, and I've tried my best to continue chasing these big fights. And it gets to a stage where it's a bit like Terence Crawford. If you can't get him that big fight, what do? The contract will come to an end. We've still got fights with Demetrius, but at the same time, I want to see him fight Charlo. I want to see him fight Golovkin. I want to see him in all those fights. And if I can't deliver for him, I would rather see him get them than worry about me. Do you know what I mean? But we've got a good relationship. I respect him a lot. I think he's a tremendous fighter. He respects us. We've been 100% honest with him. Ed Farris, his manager, what an unbelievably delightful man. And I want to stay in this. I don't want to give up. And that's why we wrote to the WBC this week to petition them to order the Charlo fight. It's within their rules to do so. It's for the best interest of boxing. Tell me a fight fan that doesn't want to see Demetrius Andrade against Jamel Charlo. 31-0, 32-0, undefeated world champions. Let's do it. And you go back to the relationship with the PBC, that's a fight, shouldn't come down to relationship with PBC. PBC should be saying, Jamel Charlo should be saying, give me Andrade. I want to unify. It's a big fight. Do you know what I mean? So we keep cracking on. We work our hardest, we work our best, we be truthful with everyone, and we keep on delivering.
How much a fighter is hanging around for potentially facing Canelo, though? Because everybody knows he's the money man, especially around those divisions.
The Canelo fight is not there for Demetrius Andrade. He's not. And
what in Charlo's case?
Oh, Charlo hanging around for Canelo. Yeah, but you can do that. But at the end of the day, once he makes his decision for May, you've got to make your decision. Charlo's fighting nobody. He just boxed Montiel, and what happens is when you box to that level, he's not doing himself justice. Charlo's a brilliant fighter. He may be a slight favourite against Demetrius Andrade. Put it on the line. That's what you got. That's what life's all about. Put it on the line. See how good you can be. And when his brother unified, he said, "Oh, I want to unify like my brother." He's not tried to unify. It's not even difficult. We're not even asking for a lot of money. Whatever they paid Derevyanchenko, I don't know. It's probably just similar kind of amounts that we'd need. This is it's a big fight. Big fight.
Now, another fight in that division which seems to not be going ahead now is Eubank Williams. Eddie, I just want to get your thoughts on those reports.
Well, it was cancelled last week, wasn't it? Thursday, I think. I mean, look, Mike Coppinger, you've got to be careful because he's over there, but when Mike Coppinger puts something out, I would actually generally put my mortgage on the fact that it's true, right?
Don't tell Rob that.
Rob who?
Tippett.
Yeah, but Rob just, I saw his tweet after. Rob would have just spoken to, I don't know, Sky or someone involved with the show would have gone, no, that's not true. Do you know what I mean? That's what you do. I've done it. No, hang on, because you need to regroup. You need to say, shit, okay. So, and you have to move fast, and you have to be reactive in this business. So was it Thursday? Or whenever it was, the news broke that Williams is out of the fight. We're now a week on. No one said anything. Do you know what I mean? You've got to be reactive. So you've got to turn around and you've got to say, okay, he's out, this is a replacement, or he's out, don't worry, this is still happening. You can't just go silent. So, people keep saying to us, oh, it's amazing for your card on December 11th, Williams is out of the Eubank fight. Look, it hurts. When Dillian Whyte had to pull out of the Wilding fight, it hurts. And it'll be hurting them like mad. But, I wish Williams all the best, and I don't know whether they'll reschedule, but we'll see.
I just want to get an update from you on the heavyweight division. What is the latest with Dillian's arbitration case?
Ongoing, and we expect a decision shortly. And we want a fair split, and we want the fight to be ordered ASAP. And that is why we go through this process to make sure those things happen. So, incoming news. So
what do you see as a fair split, and do you expect it to be 50-50? Ordered?
I don't know, 50-50. I know. Look, an interim champ can get 45%. So. You can't expect him to get the same as a standard challenger because he's not a standard challenger. He's an interim world champion with massive commercial value that's been waiting a long, long time. So give him what's fair and let's make the fight.
We saw Tyson reiterate his desire for AJ to step aside so Usyk can step in and face him. Is that anything that's been discussed?
No discussions. We're planning for that fight and we'll catch up with Alex Krasuk in the next week or so.
I just want to get an update on AJ's trainer situation because I saw Robert Garcia last week.
Nothing yet. He's been away on holiday and he'll be back soon to resume camp, but nothing to report.
Eddie, I appreciate your time. I know you got to shoot. Thank you.
Give you Teofimo, that's all.